Push yourself and get it done. Discipline starts where motivation ends. Most people rely on motivation like it's fuel, like it's the only thing that can move them forward. But motivation is emotional, unstable, inconsistent. It comes in waves. You feel it one day, and the next day it disappears like it never existed. That's why so many goals collapse before they even start, because people wait for the perfect mood, the perfect spark, the perfect energy to show up before they take action. And while they wait, time keeps moving. Opportunities slip away. Momentum dies, but discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't check your mood, your energy levels, or excuses. Discipline is a commitment you make to yourself even when nothing around you feels inspiring. It's waking up early when your mind is telling you to sleep more. It's pushing through the task even when you're tired, irritated, or unmotivated. It's choosing progress over comfort and the long term over what feels good right now. Motivation gets you started, sure. It gives you that spark. But discipline is what keeps the fire burning when the spark fades. And it always fades. There will be mornings when you don't want to try, days when everything feels heavy, moments when quitting seems easier and more logical than pushing forward. But those are the exact moments that define you. Because pushing through when it's hard is what builds your character. It's what separates people who wish from people who achieve. Think about anyone you admire, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a creator, someone successful in any field. People see their achievements and call them talented or lucky. But if you look closely, the real story is discipline. The hours behind the scenes when nobody was clapping, the sacrifices they made when nobody noticed, the countless times they showed up when the motivation was gone. They practiced the same routine again and again, even on days when their mind said, skip it. They built a habit of pushing themselves regardless of how they felt. And that's why success stuck with them. Consistency is not possible without discipline. When you develop discipline, you build trust with yourself. Most people don't trust themselves anymore because they break promises to themselves every day. Every broken promise weakens their belief in their own abilities. Discipline reverses that. It rebuilds your confidence one action at a time. When you do what you say you will do, even in small things, you teach your mind that you are reliable. You show yourself that you can be counted on. That inner trust becomes strength, and that strength becomes momentum. And when discipline becomes part of you, something powerful happens. You no longer depend on feeling good to take action. You no longer wait for the perfect moment. You move because it's what you do. You push yourself because it's part of your identity now. You don't need someone to motivate you because you've created an internal engine that doesn't shut off when life gets tough. Discipline turns effort into lifestyle. It transforms goals from distant dreams to achievable steps. It removes the emotional drama from your progress. You don't argue with yourself about whether you feel like doing something. You just do it. The truth is, your life changes the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses. That inner voice that tells you not today, maybe later, I'll feel more ready tomorrow. That voice has controlled your life for too long. Discipline is the counter voice that says, do it anyway. And every time you obey that voice, your comfort zone cracks just a little more. The limits you once believed in begin to shrink. You start to understand that most of the barriers in your life you were capable all along. You were just waiting for motivation to wake you up when you should have been building discipline to carry you forward. There will always be obstacles. There will always be challenges, stress, fatigue, and distractions. Life will never hand you the perfect conditions to work, grow, or push yourself. That's why discipline matters more than ever. It gives you the ability to act despite the chaos around you. It helps you stay grounded when everything else feels shaky. It makes you unstoppable because you're no longer controlled by temporary emotions or external circumstances. And discipline doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands consistency. It demands that you show up even if you show up imperfectly, even if you only take one small step, because one small disciplined step every day is still progress. And progress compounds. What starts as a tiny push becomes momentum. Momentum becomes strength. Strength becomes identity. And identity becomes destiny. The hardest part of building discipline is starting. Your mind will resist. Your old habits will fight back. It's normal. Over time, the things that once felt impossible become your new normal. You stop relying on motivation because you've built something far more powerful, the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. When you understand this, everything in your life changes. Your productivity changes. Your confidence changes. Your sense of control changes. You realize you don't need external fuel to keep going. You can generate your own. You stop waiting for the right feeling because you've learned that feelings are unreliable. Actions are reliable. Discipline is reliable. And the person who masters discipline becomes someone who doesn't wait for life to happen. They make life happen. Small, consistent actions create massive long-term results. People love the idea of big transformations, dramatic changes, overnight success. It looks exciting, it feels inspiring, and it gives the illusion that success requires some huge, extraordinary moment. But that's not how real growth works. Real change doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from hundreds of small ones. It comes from the tiny steps you take every day, the habits you repeat when nobody's watching, the effort you put in when the reward isn't immediate. Consistency may look boring on the outside, but it is the foundation of everything powerful. Most people fail not because they're incapable, but because they underestimate the impact of small actions. They think if they can't do something perfectly, they shouldn't do it at all. If they can't give 100%, they give nothing. This all or nothing mentality is the fastest way to stay stuck. The truth is, you don't need to make giant moves. You just need to be consistent with small ones. Tiny progress compounds, just like money in a bank account. One step may feel insignificant, but take that same step every day for a year, and you'll look back realizing you've traveled farther than you ever imagined. Think of any skill you've mastered or anything you've improved at in your life. It didn't happen in a single moment. It happened through repetition. Learning how to speak, how to write, how to walk, how to do your job, it all came from doing it again and again. You didn't even notice you were improving because the growth was gradual. That's how consistency works. It grows quietly. It grows quietly. You won't always see the impact immediately, but the results are building under the surface. And the day will come when you wake up and realize that the small actions you stuck with have created a massive shift in who you are and what you can do. The reason small actions work so well is because they're sustainable. Anyone can do something once. Anyone can try really hard for a day. But very few people can show up day after day, even when life gets messy, stressful, or unpredictable. Consistency doesn't demand perfection. It demands loyalty. It demands that you don't give up just because progress is slow. Those who stay committed, even with small steps, eventually outshine those who start strong but quit early. Because slow progress is still progress, and progress that doesn't stop becomes unstoppable. When you commit to small, consistent actions, you're not just building results, you're building identity. Every time you follow through, even in a small way, you reinforce a message in your mind. Someone who sticks with it. I am someone who finishes what I start. Over time, this identity becomes the engine that drives you. You stop relying on willpower because your habits take over. You don't have to push yourself constantly because you've trained your mind to operate in alignment with your goals. And the beauty of small actions is that they remove the pressure. You don't have to fix your entire life in one day. You don't need to chase perfection. All you need is to be better than you were yesterday by a fraction. You can fail today and still win tomorrow, as long as you keep stepping forward. And you don't. One workout won't change your body, but 30 will. 1 hour of studying won't change your future, but a year of learning will. 1 day of effort won't build a dream, but 1,000 small days will build an unshakable foundation. Consistency also helps you stay focused. When you aim too high too fast, you often burn out or lose direction. But when you commit to small steps, you create clarity. You know exactly what you need to do each day. And because the task is small, you're more likely to do it. That daily discipline compounds into confidence. You're no longer overwhelmed by the size of your dreams because you've broken them into pieces you can handle. And piece by piece, the dream becomes a reality. People often underestimate the emotional power of consistency. When you show up for yourself regularly, you build trust. You stop seeing yourself as someone who quits. You stop doubting your ability to change. You replace insecurity with belief. You stop comparing yourself to others because your focus shifts from their progress to your progress. And when you stay focused on your own lane, you naturally begin to accelerate in ways you never expected. Consistency also protects you from one of the biggest enemies of progress. Starting and stopping destroys momentum. When you fall out of a habit, you lose the rhythm, the confidence, and the mental clarity that comes with consistent action. But when you keep going, even at a slow pace, you maintain momentum. And momentum is one of the strongest forces in human behavior. It keeps you moving even on days when your energy is low or your emotions are off. It becomes easier to continue than to quit. The truth is, nobody becomes great in a day. Greatness is a result of small actions repeated over time with patience and commitment. It's the person who keeps practicing after everyone else gets tired. It's the person who keeps learning after others stop. It's the person who keeps showing up even when they don't see immediate results. These small actions seem invisible at first, but they're shaping your future quietly and powerfully. And sometimes consistency isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it every day. 5 minutes of reading each day will teach you more than reading for 2 hours once a month. 10 minutes of daily exercise will change your body more than working out intensely once in a while. Writing one paragraph a day will finish a book faster than trying to write 10 pages in one sitting and burning out. Consistency works because it's manageable. And what's manageable becomes repeatable. Small actions also reduce fear. When you take a small step consistently, your mind becomes comfortable with progress. The task doesn't feel overwhelming anymore because you've broken it down into tiny wins. These tiny wins build confidence, and confidence builds courage. And courage is what allows you to take bigger steps later. Consistency creates the foundation for bravery. Every area of life, small, consistent actions are the most powerful tool for transformation. They may not feel impressive. They may not get applause. They may not look like much day to day. But over months and years, they create results that people will call impossible, a lucky, or overnight success. They won't see the small steps you took. They will only see the big outcome. But you will know the truth. You earned it through consistency.